All right, we're gonna give a presentation on Windsor, but let's do a quick musical chairs again and meet somebody new. So you're not just sitting beside the same person the whole time. Welcome, Wybo Limo, Windsor edition. It's not branded on their thing. They don't carry. No. Matt and Cassidy are the subject matter experts of Windsor. So they're going to give us a brief on why we're on a highway going to Windsor right now.
For those of you who haven't met us, we'll just give you a brief idea of who we are. So I'm Cassidy and this is Matt Andrews, and we both grew up in the Windsor area. Can you hear me in the back? Okay, cool. I'm a real estate agent down in Windsor, and Matt's a full-time investor.
I used to do mortgages, and right now I focus on mostly wholesaling and finding off market deals down there.
So yeah, so we got into real estate. We bought our first property about 4 years ago, and we've done 12 deals down in Windsor.
And we literally moved from Guelph down to Windsor just because we knew how good of cash flow properties there were in Windsor. Recently made the move back to Guelph to start expanding up there, but we really saw what an opportunity was down there to start buying some houses.
So now we're spending part of our time in Windsor, part of our time in Guelph.
And part of our time traveling, because that's one of the things that we love to do, and one of the reasons we got into real estate in the first place is to build that passive income to kind of have the lifestyle that we want to have.
Well, that's a little bit about us.
Yeah.
So we have a PDF on a Google Drive link. So if you text, open a text message, everyone do it right now, because then you'll have the PDF for all the properties on your phone. So just pull out your phone.
Yeah, we're going to see 6 or 7 properties today in Windsor, and this is all the finances for all those. You can get the link right here.
Yeah, so get your phone out, open a new message. You're going to send it to the numbers 393939, and just text Windsor PDF. So text Windsor PDF to 393939, and within a minute you'll get a link.
See it in space? Yeah, I've texted that to that number before, I think.
Windsor PDF, it's a big one. Yeah, PDF.
Space or?
Yeah, there's a space. Windsor space PDF. So within a minute you should get, you got it? Okay, cool. So it'll give you a link. You click on the link and you'll have all of the files right on your phone.
So we'll go through those as we're going through the properties, but that's just for your just so you have it now. And I'll talk a little bit about why Windsor. So again, the reason we haunt down there is good cash flow, and that's why a lot of investors are going down there now, which is actually driving up the price of properties slowly down there. But it's really a strong economy based off of the purchase price. In fact, the rent to purchase price ratio is one of the highest in all of Canada, which is again why we like to invest there.
So we'll go over some. Okay, so just some things that are happening in Windsor. One of the things is the expansion of the University of Windsor campus. So they're opening new campuses downtown Windsor, which is great because downtown Windsor suffered quite a bit back in 2008-2009 when some of the auto plants closed and the economy suffered. Downtown took a big hit, but it's really revitalized.
And that's also where the casino is, and you'll notice actually all the houses close to the casino are pretty run down. You can kind of tell they spend more of the time at the casino than their own house. It's kind of a unique anomaly because it's right along the river, one of the nicest parts of the city, and it's where you get the cheapest housing too. So we'll drive by that.
Yeah, yeah, and what other city do you have the most derelict neighborhood is the one right by the water in downtown? Usually that's the prime real estate. So personally, I think that neighborhood at some point it has to get better. It has to. I don't know when. I don't know how long you need to hold on to something to see the
That's where you can find houses for around 100,000, or sometimes even less. And,
they need work, but
yeah, they need work. There's some rough spots too downtown, but if you know where to go, and if you ever see a deal and just are curious, does this one make sense? touch too. We'll give you our number. We're happy to just give some free advice for that.
Yeah, if you're ever wondering about a specific neighborhood, because things do vary a lot, just some of the areas that aren't so great, they're very small, and then even just a couple streets over is much better. So if you want to talk to somebody who knows like very specific about the streets. So anyways, the University of Windsor new downtown campus, this was phase 1. This is the new social work building. They basically it's in the old Windsor Star newspaper building, and they redid it to keep the character and the heritage of the building. So that's a really nice new building downtown. The phase 2 was this building, which was the old Windsor Armories building, and they redid that, and now it's the School of Creative Arts. That's downtown. And this is a photo I just took the other day of another old building downtown that they're revitalizing to be another University of Windsor building. So St. Clair College also opened a new campus downtown. So typically student housing has been all on the west end close to the University of Windsor, but now with these campuses coming downtown, that whole west end is going to be a lot more attractive to students, because if the west end can be close to both the downtown campus and the University of Windsor campus. So we'll show you on the map exactly where those areas are, but it's just good to know that the university rental market is broadening. It's becoming a wider area.
And one other big development that's happening in Windsor in the next few years is they're building not just one but 2 international bridges, which is going to bring thousands and thousands of workers temporarily, and may even cause them to relocate. So that, on top of people just retiring down to Windsor too, it's kind of the Florida of Canada. It's the most southern tip. It's pretty warm, pretty sunny, and because of the cheap housing, people can downsize or even stay with the same size of house and walk away with a lot of money from really anywhere else in Ontario and come down to Windsor. So population's really kind of increasing.
And we do see that, like I have clients who just moved over from Vancouver. They retired, they sold their $1 million house in Vancouver, bought a nice $200,000 home in a good neighborhood, and the rest is just there for retirement. So that's why we are seeing a lot of people coming down to retire in Windsor, and also in the surrounding towns like Kingsville, Amherstburg, LaSalle, especially Kingsville, Amherstburg. They're nice, really quiet, small towns, nice places along the water, really attractive for retirees. So, I'm gonna go over some statistics. This is a chart showing unemployment rates. You can see the rates spiked in 2009, 2010. That's when the GM plant closed. My dad actually worked there. Luckily, he retired the same year it closed. Matt's dad worked in the Chrysler plant, was laid off. So the whole city was affected by it, and that's really, it took a while to recover. So you can see now the employment rate is down to 5.2% unemployment. So we've really recovered and really back to low unemployment rates. This chart shows some of the major sectors of employment.
It's mostly a blue-collar city, so a lot of factories, a lot of construction, manufacturing. Yeah, and so those are the ideal tenants. That's who we rent to for the most part, is professionals, usually young professionals or people with a steady job that just want to rent kind of forever. So we get longer-term leases that way. We haven't really done a lot of student rentals, but we find that there's a big demand for nice rental properties in good areas, and it's because you're servicing all these clients really as tenants.
So this is really interesting. This chart shows how housing affordability affects demand. So you know about the new mortgage rules that have been in place where people have to qualify at a higher mortgage rate. So that means they're qualifying for lower amounts. So this shows here London, Kitchener, Hamilton, GTA. This is the required income that somebody would need based on an average price in that neighborhood. And then the second row shows the percentage of households that actually make that required income. So in all these other areas, in London, 46% of people make that required income, and then all the way down to in GTA, only 19% of people make the required income to qualify for an average mortgage. So there's a lot of people who are priced out of the market.
And to me, that tells me that rental properties are going to become more and more valuable as less and less people can afford it. And it's great. I didn't think the numbers were this low, but it's really crazy how many people aren't going to be able to buy houses pretty soon.
So in Windsor, 54% of people can still afford the average home. So that shows that, and we were seeing this in the last quarter as prices were dropping in the GTA, prices are still rising in Windsor, and that's an effect of those mortgage rules. So less people are able to qualify for a mortgage in the GTA, they're getting priced out of the market, but in Windsor, people are still qualifying, people are still able to buy those entry-level homes, and there's still the demand, so the price has still been going up. We're still up 12% this quarter over the same quarter last year, which is right here. So the average home price in Windsor, $264,000. That's like for an average family home in a nice neighborhood.
But most are actually below that. It's the $1 million properties that are really bringing up that average. And there are some, like $10 million homes in Windsor. There's some like really nice areas, but most of them are well under that 200,000.
Yeah. So 59% of the homes in Windsor are below the average home price. So a lot of affordable homes. Now vacancy rates are very low. The number that they've given in 2017 is 2.4%. Now, when you're a landlord, it seems like 0%. Like every time you put an ad up, you've got tons of responses, tons of people applying, tons of selection. I get people asking me all the time to help them find a rental property because renters have such a hard time finding something that isn't already taken. So, yeah.
There's certain types of property that you're seeing more demand for than others?
Yeah, we've definitely seen an increase in demand of single families, and really all types of apartments. All of our apartments. Yeah, everything. But especially single families that we're noticing.
From investors, it's more multifamily because there's so little inventory on the market that everybody, as soon as there's a duplex or triplex like ourselves, we're still trying to buy them. If it's on the market, you're getting so many multiple offers. So, yeah, it's really everything's in demand.
Yeah. But demand from renters?
From renters, it's anything, yeah.
Anything, yeah. We have everything from one-bedroom apartments to single-family homes, and they're all high demand. The main thing that's in demand is a nice unit, like something that's clean, because the problem that we've had in Windsor when things took a dip, the thing that happened is that landlords stopped updating their properties because they just didn't have the money. So a lot of the properties started to get outdated, kind of derelict. People just weren't caring for them. So it became hard to find like a nice unit to rent for renters. But now that things have been picking up, a lot of people are flipping and renovating their properties that they haven't in a while. And actually contractors are so busy. And it's really hard to find a contractor that's not booked up for the next few months. So yeah, it's a nice unit that's in demand. Yeah. As long as it's good quality, clean, you never have a problem finding a tenant right now.
And so that's been our strategy. We like to fix up our units and then we charge above market rents, usually $100 to $200 more than average. Not only does that give us kind of better tenant selection, but you also just get better returns that way too.
Yeah, so this shows for bachelor, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 or more bedroom, it shows the vacancy rate and the average rent. So as an example, for a 2-bedroom apartment, average rent $868. We have 2 bedrooms that rent for $1,000 or $1,100. So that's what Matt was saying. We usually charge a couple $100 above market rent because we renovate our properties. They're nicer than the average apartment, and we find that when we charge above market rent, we get great tenants who care about having a nice place and want to take care of it. So it helps weed out some of the people who, you know, aren't interested in taking good care of your property. So this shows, it's again the vacancy rate and average price, just putting in a visual comparing to the areas of the city. We'll go more over these areas with some maps later, but yeah, you can see that visual.
So because it's such a strong cash flow place for investing, there's really, you can do any kind of strategy there. You can do BRRRR, you can do single, multifamily, buy and holds. We've done fix and flip, wholesale, rent to own, lease option, commercial. So personally, we've done everything on this list. We like to have like a lot of kind of tools, kind of tricks that we can use on so that when a deal comes up, you can decide to go about it whichever way makes the most sense.
Yeah, as an example, like if the numbers work, we always buy for cash flow and we always make money in the buy. And if the numbers work and you know that that property can cash flow, even if you're going to flip it, your plan is to flip it, say put your renovation costs in and you think the after repair value is this, and for some reason you have a hard time selling it at that price. Well, rather than take a loss or take less profit than you're aiming for by lowering your purchase price, you can rent it and get that cash flow and just pull your money out through a refinance. So there's always, because of that strong cash flow, there's always many exit strategies.
Yeah. And so, yeah, on top of that, just a few things that we have to offer. If you ever, have questions on any of it, we're more than happy to just talk. We've done lots of real estate investing strategies, creative finance. We know quite a bit about RRSP investing, private mortgages, hard money lending. We've got some property management. We've done a lot of joint ventures, MLS selling, buying, market evaluations. We've learned a lot about personal finance, different strategies, organizations, and of course always up to have a good conversation.
So those are things that if you ever want to talk about any of those things, we're happy to help always.
Yeah, just give us a call, text us.
Okay, so you want to go over this sample?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so here's just a sample deal, one that we've done kind of recently, just to give you a real life example. So we bought this property off market for $105,000. It was pretty rough. It needed some work. It's in a good neighborhood in Walkerville.
It smelled like dog pee.
Oh yeah, everywhere.
Badly.
Yeah. So we put about $22,000 worth of work into it. All in all, we were $127,000 in. It's worth about $160,000 now. So this is an example of, we could flip it for $30,000 and make some quick money, but because we got some really great private financing on this, we got our first mortgage at 0% interest, and it was like 97% vendor take back. So we only needed $5,000 to close on that property, and then we needed $22,000. So that's when I went to hard money and I said, hey, I'll borrow that at 10% interest. So my blended mortgage is more like 2% on the whole 100%. So that's kind of what we've done on this property. Looks really nice in there. We rent it currently for $1,400. Our expenses are $470. Tenants pay for everything in Windsor.
Yeah, it's always plus utilities.
Yeah.
There used to be a lot of inclusive units because when vacancy rates were higher, landlords wanted to incentivize people to rent their units, so a lot of them turned to inclusive, but now that rental demand's really high, everything now is plus utilities.
Yeah.
So that's an example of how you can have multiple exit strategies. We could have flipped it, made that profit, but instead we're renting it and the cash flow is great, and now we can
pay down the mortgage quite a bit too. This is mostly principal because of that 0%. So yeah, you can get really high returns from a cash flow perspective, and then whenever we do want to pull our money out for the next project, we can decide to at any point basically.
But we're not likely to give up that 0% mortgage anytime soon.
No, not until the 3-year term's up, that's for sure.
Okay, so we'll talk about some neighborhoods, and if you have any questions, feel free to stop us at any time.
Yes.
Relationships.
So it's all about.
Yeah, it was a client of mine. We met him actually, we were doing consultations for a solar panel company. So that's how I met him first, was for a sales consultation. And then he mentioned he had some properties, and eventually I ended up selling a couple of his houses, and we just got to be friends with him, and then
we've done 3 deals with him so far, and now he's got quite a bit of cash from his business in Syria, and he said, hey, anything you have, you know, I'm looking into commercial now, keep me in mind, you know, for the next commercial deal you have. So it's, yeah, you build that relationship, you do 1 deal with them, treat them really well, and then it just really grows from there. There's this one seminar, we're seminar junkies, you know, we dropped out of university, but ever since then we spent just as much, if not more, on educating ourselves on areas we're interested in, real estate, personal finance, all that. One of the best pieces of advice I got from this seminar by his name JT Fox. If anybody knows Stefan Arnio, that's who he learned from. And JT Fox said, if you're in business for yourself, and in real estate you're in business for yourself, spend 70% of your time building relationships, spend 20% of your time coming up with new marketing and branding strategies, and then 10% of your time really knowing your numbers. And if you just do those 3 things, your business will explode. We took that advice last year and really kind of seen that. So it's true, all the best deals, all the, you know, really all the success in business comes from networking. And you know, that's how we met these guys, Matt and Jeff, you know, just even a few months ago. You know, it's crazy how far we've all come just, you know, just for that, the way that we're able to really like help each other. That's why I love real estate too, is you can just team up with like-minded people, so that's
synergy.
Synergy, yeah.
The first area we'll talk about is Sandwich Town. So this is on the west end. If you can see the map, this highlighted area.
That's
west,
more of a B- C+ kind of neighborhood. It's turning around, but it's still a little bit rough.
Yeah, it's west of the bridge. So there's a couple of streets with a bunch of boarded up houses, which when people come through there that don't know what's going on in Windsor, they drive through that area and they think the area is much worse than it is because they see all these boarded up houses and they're like, what's going on in this neighborhood? But they've been bought up by the bridge company for the new bridge to go in. So they're going to be torn down so that the new bridge can be built. But for the meantime, it doesn't help the looks of the area. But it's a nice historic neighborhood. Single family homes tend to go for around like 100,000 or sometimes lower if they're in really bad shape, up to around 180 or so. Yeah, that's about what I have to say about that.
We recently flipped a duplex over in that neighborhood. Again, the more rougher ones, you don't really have rough neighborhoods in Windsor, but the C neighborhoods, those are the ones where you have a higher chance to make profit. It's kind of like any sort of investing, the higher risk and higher reward. So we made pretty good money on flipping a duplex in Sandwich just last year.
So next, this is area 2, which is the University and West End. So this is that area as a whole. This is a zoomed in version that shows you where kind of the university rentals typically are. However, like I mentioned before, that's kind of expanding now because of the new campuses downtown. The university rental market is moving from that core area, which shows here, more toward downtown. It's kind of spreading out.
So we're going to go check out a student rental later today. I think that'll be one of the last ones that we do. We've got a good friend that runs a turnkey property management for just on student properties, and so this is one of his properties that we're going to go check out. He's a wealth of knowledge as well.
Okay, next area 3 is east of downtown, and it includes neighborhoods like Walkerville, Ford City, and like central Windsor and downtown Windsor. So it's a big area. I've highlighted here Walkerville. So Walkerville is west of Walker Road, and then beside it is Ford City, which is east of Walker Road. So Walkerville has really revitalized. It's a really great neighborhood, very trendy neighborhood. A lot of young people move to Walkerville. It's where we have several of our multi-families. It's got a lot of great restaurants. We'll drive through it, you'll see.
Yeah, really great for rentals. You can get above market rent just purely because of the location, and then you make it look nice in there, and then you know you can get really great returns in Walker.
Yeah, and then Ford City on the other side of Walker is kind of like, it's just a little bit behind Walkerville. there's a lot of revitalization efforts by the city going on, and there's a lot of community things going on to kind of bring some life back into Fort City. So things like community gardens, farmers markets, different things like that.
Yeah, but it was run down at one point, and actually the further north you go, the rougher it gets. Again, the closer you get to the water. You know, Lee was saying that he had a duplex or an income property there, and that's kind of the rough neighborhood. We wouldn't recommend really getting too much over there, at least just yet. But you can actually get good deals. Like, you got a great deal on the duplex, so you can actually, again, if you're willing to take on a bit of risk, $67,000 for a duplex.
Yeah.
Crazy. Now, they're not going for anywhere near that these days, even in kind of in the rough neighborhoods there. I think you sold for 150. That's about, you know, what you're looking for in a rough neighborhood. But if you go south, and we'll show you a few properties down south Fort City as well as Walkerville. When you go south, you know, it's good. You can still get duplexes for under 200, which cash flow pretty well.
Yeah, basically, like in Fort City, once you get south of Seminole, that's the street to keep in mind, it gets a lot nicer, and it's more of a family area, whereas toward the water, it's not that great.
It's downtown and Fort City. Those are the ones close to the water where it's just rough. Like, the roughest that Windsor gets, which is, again, nothing compared to a big city.
It's not like a bad neighborhood of Toronto where you should be like scared to walk around, but it's still pretty good. Safe. Okay, now these few areas I've highlighted, we've got LaSalle, South Windsor, and Tecumseh. These are neighborhoods where you're looking like 300,000 plus for a single family home. There aren't
white collar neighborhoods.
White collar neighborhoods, yeah. There aren't a lot of rental properties, and there aren't a lot of multi-families. It's mostly single families. You do find, once in a while, you'll find a duplex or fourplex, but yeah, they're a lot fewer. So these could be good neighborhoods for flips if you want to take on like a higher price flip, because there's a higher ceiling what people are willing to pay in those neighborhoods. There's $1 million homes in some of these neighborhoods.
It might not make sense from a rental perspective.
Yeah, rental. There are some people who do kind of like executive rentals in those neighborhoods, but you can expect to have longer vacancies and have a little harder time finding your tenants.
Actually, furnished rentals is definitely an opportunity in Windsor. There aren't that many of them, and even us personally have used furnished, have like lived in a furnished rental before, and you know, for the same place that you get $1,200 or $1,300 a month in rent, you can get $2,000, $2,500 for furnished rentals. So big opportunity there too if anybody wants to go that route.
Especially because there's a little bit of Airbnb, not a lot though. It's getting better, and what I was going to say about furnished rentals also is true about Airbnb. When the new bridge construction starts, there's going to be a lot of workers coming to the area for those projects. So Airbnb and furnished rentals are going to be a lot more in demand during that time. So that's something to keep in mind. So this has some of our contact information, which is also on the last page of the PDF that we sent you. So that's all we have in the way of slideshows, but now, like, if you have any questions, anything else that you want us to talk more about, question and answer time.
So where's the, I was just going to say, where's the majority of your portfolio? Do you mind breaking it out for?
Sure.
Yeah, about half of it I would say is in Walkerville, and we'll drive past a few of ours that we own that, you know, we're not selling right now, but we do have a couple for sale. We've got a triplex, and we've got a 4-unit commercial building as well. But we've got single-family homes all over Windsor, and most of our multifamily is in Walkerville.
Yeah, our single families, we've got one in kind of like South Central Windsor, one in the East End, like Riverside, and one kind of on the edge of the university area.
Yeah, we're doing a flip there right now. If we've got extra time at the end, we can go check out a flip project that we're doing. We can go up to the river too, and you can see just really how nice the river is in certain places. Yeah, we've got a few things. If we've got time for it at the end, we can check those out too.
Are your single family homes rent to own or more long-term buy and hold?
A bit of both. Yeah, Yeah, we've done 2 rent-to-own so far, and I personally love rent-to-own. We're going to start scaling that up quite a bit this year. But yeah, we've got long-term, we've done flips, we've done rent-to-own. Again, with single-family homes, when you're getting them somewhere between 150 or like around the 150 mark, you've just got so many options because you can rent them for the 1% or close to, or you can, you know, put the value in, flip them for. When we flip houses around the 150 mark, we like to aim for between $20,000 to $40,000 after we pay investors too. So it's not huge margins, but you still can make, you know, quick money when you do flips too. So you always have lots of options.
You guys said you're moving a little bit to Guelph, but are you going to mainly focus on Windsor still? Is that the idea?
Yeah, we're mainly focused on
especially for our buy and
not in your head
hold.
real quick.
Yeah, especially for our buy and hold. So we're thinking of doing some flips in Guelph.
Yeah.
There's good margins on those if you can find the deals. But then we'd put that cash right back into Windsor for buy and holds for cash flow.
Yeah, and we've got lots of opportunities coming to us off market, so because of that, we'll be coming back and forth to Windsor pretty often. Like we right now come down once a week, but we might scale that back to like maybe once every 2 weeks, but when we do, we come down, our days are packed with making offers, doing inspections, meeting with investors. So yeah, if you ever want to meet us either in Windsor, we'll come to London, because we're passing through London all the time, London, Guelph, we're happy to just go hang out, have a coffee, yeah, chat.
Another one. Other than price point, Windsor, what really excites you about Windsor, both short-term and long-term?
Price point.
Price point's number one, but what other than that?
Yeah, the cash flow. It's just great that you can get a good cushion of cash flow on every property. And then the other thing, like we showed that chart about, well, even the average price being around $260,000. The average for Ontario is around $600,000. So just the long-term growth potential of Windsor, as it becomes more accessible, like if they go ahead with the high-speed train from Toronto down to Windsor, it'll just become more and more accessible for people to reach. Right now it's kind of far from other things, but as it does become more accessible and as people get priced out of other markets, the prices can only keep going up to kind of catch up with the rest of the province.
Yeah, the international student population in Windsor too has more than doubled in the last few years alone, and there's a lot more kind of tech jobs coming to Windsor too, so it's becoming a stronger economy. Not only that, Detroit's really taken a jump up in terms of quality there. Like, I believe it was one of the only cities to ever go bankrupt in the States, and that happened about 10 years ago, and ever since then they've been putting billions of dollars into Detroit, and so that's having an impression on Windsor as well, because you get a lot of people from the States coming over to Windsor. So you've got that, you've got the campuses expanding, you've got yeah, just the bridges going in, and ultimately too, because it's so high cash flow, we are seeing a lot of investors coming down to start invest, and that's actually causing appreciation. So we never buy for appreciation alone, it's kind of a bonus. We were always told buy for cash flow, appreciation if it happens, which on average it does happen 5% per year, but I think it could happen even more than that just with the affordability of Windsor compared to everywhere else. And investors, in a lot of cases, investors and retired people are driving that up.
I have one more.
Yeah, sure.
I can look this up myself, but I'm going to select the experts. Do you guys have any numbers on immigration or anything like that? Immigration numbers into Windsor? Or?
I do. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but I do have them, so I can share those with you guys. But we've had a lot of. It's definitely a very international city, and we have had a lot of Syrian refugees coming to Windsor in the last couple of years, which actually we see. Well, first of all, there's a rental opportunity there because for the refugees, the government will cover their rent for 2 years. So you have rent, and the check comes directly to the landlord from the government.
And there's actually grants to improve housing for those specific purposes for immigrants, for I think even for providing affordable quality homes. So on top of all the green energy grants that you have going on right now, you've got a lot of free money there too.
Yeah, so there are people who are focusing on providing housing for refugees. What's that? settled, they're kind of getting their feet in the city, and over the years we'll see those people move from renting to home ownership. And that's also a really great opportunity for rent to own too, because these are people who don't have established credit yet in the country, so they need some time to build that credit, and providing rent own, you can help them build that credit and move them into home ownership. So that's a really great opportunity with the refugees. Anything else? All right, if you have any other questions, we're here, just ask.
Thank you guys so much.
No problem. Oh, we have a map of Windsor here. If anyone wants to take a look at it, we'll pass it around. If you have any questions that you want me to point to on the map, it's here. We've got 2 of them, so you can pass this around.